welcome and welcome for today, love. And we'll be talking more of how you can able to create a visual brand or a visual brand identity in 2025. And let me tell you the truth. In 2025, people they don't just buy product. People they buy trust. People they want your brand to look like the what they want from your brand is not like your visual brand is your first employee. What people see matters. Your first impression, it does. And your first pitch, and sometimes it may be your last chance. So today I'm going to show you exactly how to build a visual brand that will stop the scroll, and it will win you trust instantly, and it will position you like a premium brand even if you're just starting. So pause, lean in. You're not here by mistake. Today you are about to level up. Alright guys, let's get into the foundation of strong visual brand. And before we talk about logos, before we talk about colors, before we talk about Canva templates, let's start with one truth. A visual brand is not what you design. It is not you. It is what your audience feel, remember, and sees. So if you understand this one thing, your entire creative journey will change. It will change a lot. It will position you in a greater field. So, what is this visual brand? What is real? Like, what is it? A visual brand is how your audience feel, like how your audience see you. And when people see your Instagram, when people see your Instagram feed, they immediately know what is you, like something that people see from you. When someone open your YouTube thumbnail, does it look like your style? And then when they walk past your shop, does it signalize something? The color you have used, does the mood match? And what about something that you post online? So that visual brand, it make you recognizable at a first glance. So you must consider that. That's what will position you as a leader in your feed. So a visual brand is how your audience feel when they see you. You must keep that in mind. A visual brand is something how that your audience feel when they see you. Remember that design is emotion. That's why we have this type of colors. This type of colors, it has different meaning. Like red. Red feels so bold. What about blue? I'm sure you have been somewhere you have seen a blue color, like hospital. Most hospitals, if you have been more keen, you'll ever seen like red, like blue. It is mostly found in hospital. Simply because of trustworthy. It portrays that trustworthy. Then there's a green. So this is a visual brand. A visual brand, it tells your audience, like when the audience feel, they see you. So I'll use another of green. I will use color to elaborate more. You can able to understand. So green feel like it is a bit of calm and natural. So it brings that perception of something that is calm and natural. So that's what we can minimal layout. Perception of different colors, you may come up again, you may see that minimal layout. This type of layout, it feels premium because when someone reaches your design, it sees something minimal and straight to the point. Then it makes your design to feel so premium. And then you can use maximalist as it makes it emotional and not logical. I can say hi to Kamderin. I can see you. Okay, let's continue. We are in a visual brand. So if you may have some question as we proceed, you may just drop it in your chat box as we proceed with our live. So a visual brand is how fast people can recognize you. Keep that in mind. A visual brand is how fast people can recognize you, even without your logo. You're fast, even without your logo. So this is the real test of branding. This is where branding comes in. Logo. Like logo is the face of your brand. If today I remove no, because your visual brand is so weak. So it's logo. It feels like Apple. Why? Because language. Then you may see it has some white space. It is super clean. It implies that white space, if you have ever been keen, it implies that it is one of the brand that is well administering the world, well dominant, and in avoidance of doubt, it is one of the best companies in the world, one of the best brands. The trends, iPhones, MacBooks, there's so many items. I won't talk much about it. Okay, I'll still concentrate on my example. Again, I'm sure you have ever been somewhere and you have seen a minimal logo or a minimal billboard. I'll use this example. You have been somewhere, you find a minimal logo. When I'm referring to a minimal logo, it's something that it has at least two products. Like it has only one product in explanation and about two words. Something minimal, something simple. It is not too overcrowded. So that Apple feeling is so strong, and that is what it has positioned them to the position they are. It makes them strong, and even you may see that this fake Apple sauce, Apple, it has positioned them in a well manner. So that is all about it. Let's get to the other point. There's this visual identity, visual brand. We'll get to know how these things runs. What is this visual identity? What is visual brand? So visual identity, many people get this wrong. They think that visual identity is the same as logo, which is definitely not correct. A logo is simply just a symbol. A logo is just your face, alone your face, nothing more. A logo. So it's just as simply the symbol. And what about your visual identity? Your visual identity is just simply the set of elements. Everything. Visual identity, the color palette, the fonts, icon styles, and everything that is visual elements. So we have these fonts, icon style, imagery styles, everything that is so graphical, that represents something. That is what we call visual identity. The patterns, the layout, the structure, everything. That's why we position it as a visual identity. The motion style, the social media style. That is how things are. So that is what we call the visual brand or visual identity. I'll come up again with the version of visual brand, and visual brand is I can mostly relate it to a system and style of something. Don't worry about this one. I'll elaborate more. You'll get to know more about this. So don't worry if you are not in a position to understand this, but I'm sure you'll be able to get to and grasp a concept on each. So visual brand is the same as system and style. even consistency. So that is visual brand: system, style, consistency, emotion. So I'll break it down so as you may grasp a concept in each accordingly. When I say that a visual brand is the same as system, why am I saying so? Because that system is your repeatable, it has your repeatable rules. So if someone else design your poster using your rules, it will still feel like your brand. Then what about your style? Your style has some unique flavor, or your brand has a unique flavor of your brand. So this is what makes you different. You know that I said that visual brand is the same as system, style, consistency, emotion, all over that. So consistency, this is the real secret. Consistency is not just repeating the same thing. Remember, it is just repeating the same feeling. That is what we call consistency. Not repeating the same thing, but about most of the time. Most of the time. On the same, that Netflix, it has an N icon, a letter N, stylized N. So that is what about their back. Then it's red, but it is a bit of fadey. So that's what they. So when you see something that has letter N, the background color look a bit gray. That if I've ever been keen, it these people are very brilliant. The Spotify company, they are so brilliant, and they try to look and they try to look into what the brand can be. So and some like high contrast artist photos, and that is what position them where they are today. So with circular shapes, background, something of the sort, then Spotify, for example, mostly known, it has an hype around it. It is a well-known Safaricom. So Safaricom, it is mostly known for its web service, like their service. If you may ever been keen on Safaricom, on their visual brand identity. So Safaricom, these people now they are very brilliant again. They decided something that they try to look on the longer. So they come up with this type of logo. Exactly Safaricom green. Clean. Their layout is so clean. Modern. They have modern layouts. And what about their shape? It is a bit of curved, but curved, which speaks well to their brand. Then they have this the Dotto Z2, which partners with Safaricom. It has so many emotional photography style. So you may think that you may use that as an example in explaining the visual brand identity. It is better to use the same icon style across all posters. Consistency in the feeling, like it will not confuse your brand a lot. So if you cover the Safaricom logo, like today you have met somewhere with the Safaricom logo, then you cover it. Then what about their poster? Because it feels the same exactly. It feels like Safaricom. And that is the power of branding. Branding makes it different. Their personality. That is it. That's what positioned them where you see them today. They have invested more in branding. That's why you see Safaricom offering some, and even if you may argue about it, not delivering so much of quality service like they were used to, but when it comes to branding, they have mastered that art. So Remember that your visual brand is not your logo. Your visual brand is the feeling. And it's the feeling you get from everything you create. Master that. That visual brand is not your logo. A visual brand is the feeling people get from everything you create. Branding is not an art. Branding is memory. Remember that branding is memory. And if people can't remember you, they can't trust you. Tell me a reason if people won't remember you. Can they trust you? They can't. Definitely they can't. So, think about that. As I close that section, as I move to the next part, which I'll be talking more about color, typography, imagery. Before we go there, remember that consistency is what creates trust. But trust create that recognition. So we start with consistency first. It creates trust. Trust, it creates recognition. Then what about recognition? That recognition, people have recognized you. I have started now my graphic design journey. Now I need to be so consistent or super consistent. Now, when I'm trying to be that super consistent, then I'm trying to build trust. Then, once I've built that trust creates another recognition. People get to know you. And after I get recognized, it creates that brand power. It gives you that perception of having such a brand power. So, there's something has changed here. And I'm going to talk about it. This is the branding shift. And it has changed rapidly. And I could wish you could be able to understand what has changed this way. Okay, now that we understand what visual brand is, we may talk about what has actually changed in 2025. Because branding will never be the same. It has changed from last year. Like things go change. So we must update ourselves with this type of knowledge. We must be able to know what are these? What has changed from the last year? From 2025 up to 2020, there's a gap in branding. The 2025 branding is not the same as the branding that was used in 2020 or 2018. Or not even, let us not go far, or even last year, 2024. So this year, branding has completely shifted. How people, they judge their brand, especially online. And that's why we get to see that minimalism type of design is back. Yes, it is back, but with the emotion. Remember that minimalism, it never left. It just evolved. Minimalist design, it never left, but it evolved through a series. I have this example for old minimalism, which is about 2015. That is the old minimalism. It uses a plain white, some flat colors, that is a one color solid background. It was super clean, and it was almost cold. So everything looked like Apple. And what about the new minimalism, which came from the year starting the late last year up to now? This is the new minimalism type of design. It is so clean but warm, but it communicates a very clear message. Yes, it is still simple, Minimalism design is something that is simple, but it has some personality around it. Soft textures. And what about the colors? Their colors is so friendly. What about the human photos? It is again so friendly, and it is more. So that is about the minimalism design and how it has evolved and how it's back in 2025. Then I cannot left behind the shadow, those branded shadows and gradients. It has worked a lot. Yes, I know. And I will use example to illustrate what about this minimalist design, the that old minimalist design and new minimalist. So as you can able to grasp a concept on each. Hi clean. Okay. I'm using example of Airbnb in relation to 2025 with these aesthetic updates. So this Airbnb, it uses clean layout, and yes, it uses clean layout. And what about their photography? If I've been keen on Airbnb, it uses clean layout, warm photography, and some soft illustration that are friendly and human. Okay, so I'll use of this Instagram update. This gradient, like the Instagram brand update, it has some, the gradient is so soft, deep, more emotional, but it is still minimal. That's where our point is. Minimal, but when it comes to it being alive, yes, it is alive. Yes, it is alive. I'll use another example. I'll use another example of Safaricom new posters. And look at in the year 2024 when they were rolled out. If you have been keen with those Safaricom posters, there were a lot of white space. Their designers they were very creative, and it got a little of more white space on their design. Then they tried to keep the design to be have that green color, like soft. They never left that shade of green. That's what it makes them friendly. Then what about their lifestyle? They used warm environment and minimal layout. And what about when I'm speaking this example? What about your personal brand? So when I'm referring in 2025, when I'm referring to your personal brand, it's something like your personality, which is very important in this age. So in 2025, remember that your brand should feel simple, and you should make your brand to be so human. Your clean layouts and your emotional stories should communicate. So minimalism is not plain. It is clarity, emotion. Those two matters a lot. Clarity and emotion. It position your brand well or your personal brand well. So if you've been keen, people in this time, they want authenticity. They don't want these fake luxuries, you see. No more fake luxuries. Then this is one of the biggest shifts. It has changed, and we must appreciate it. Remember that people are tired of these fake luxury brands, fake entrepreneurs. People that don't want to have these more edits, AI perfect photos, and more forced studio aesthetics. That is what people they don't want. People, we're entering in a world where people, they want to see the real you. This is the real era where people want to show the real you. So remember that the authenticity is the real, and that is what this is what will make you feel perfect. So remember that brand, it no longer lives on business cards. You must consider that. Take this note that brand no longer lives on business cards, these corporate files, billboards, and form of dominant perception. Things have shifted from traditional era to the modern day. Today, the brand lives on TikTok, this platform, YouTube Shorts, your stories, Facebook Reels, online. This is where the real brand is. It has shifted from the old mindset where things were more of complicated of billboards, business cards, long words. So you must able to know that. So if your brand still evolves in traditional method, then you are behind. You must evolve yourself and bring yourself in modern day. So this platform, be it YouTube, TikTok, everywhere, or any platform, it can determine, it can make you to feel or see how your brand, not your website alone. I'll use examples. There's this most example of a Duolingo company. Yeah, Duolingo. This is the entire brand that revived because of TikTok. TikTok make this brand to be most popular. And I'm sure if you've ever been keen, Duolingo exists now because of TikTok. Even though their content might be a bit of chaotic, but it places them recognizable. Then there are this little business, you may find them on TikTok. So remember that one viral video can build a brand faster than a 10-year marketing plan. You only need one video to make your brand, or that one video to break your brand. I'll use another example of these restaurants in Nairobi. Most restaurants, they now rely on attracting more customers. They don't just need posters, because things have changed. And that's why people are showing up. These Facebook Reels, that's what attracts them. People see the nice food cooked. And when you see something like that, then definitely you rush to the restaurants. I'll use another example of personal brands. If your design is amazing, and if your design is amazing, what matters a lot is how your brand looks in motion. How your color look in motion. How your colors behave on videos. How fast people can recognize your style in 1 or 2 seconds. You may consider that as an example. So you may find that we have this creativity. And that this creativity, it is the biggest mind shift in 2025. Simply because you may be ugly. Ugly, but recognizable brand. It beat that beautiful brand, but so as you may grasp a concept on what I'm telling you on example of this. You can have the best logo ever, one of the best. You can even have one of the best posters ever, one of the cleanest color palette ever. But what if people don't necessarily know it is you? Are you going to tell me that these people will trust you? And that is where the brand loses. There's this TikTok brand called Ryanair, if I'm not wrong. Ryanair. Their content is not beautiful. You may find that some of their videos may look cheap. But what about the tone? The humor? The blue and yellow? It is instantly recognizable. And that is why you see this type of brand is winning. I may have another one, Netflix posters. All Netflix thumbnails, they follow the same look. This Netflix, if you've ever been keen, they use a darker background, red accent, and they close up faces. They have this dramatic lighting and not the most creative, but they are recognized so instantly. I'll use as an example of well-known supermarket. Don't know if it's still dominating our Kenyan market, called Naivas Supermarket. You may tell me your thoughts if this Naivas Supermarket still dominates in our Kenyan market. They have this orange and bold text. Even they have orange, like their visual identity is orange, bold text, and some photos of it, which it makes them to create instant recognition, even on small banners. I will not leave behind Apple. This Apple, people, they recognized Apple a lot. You can even recognize Apple brand even without a single logo or a product name. Remember that first recognition creates that brand power. So, branding in 2025 is about one thing. You must be fast, you must be real, you must be consistent, you must be memorable and not perfect. Be fast, be real, be consistent, and be memorable. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to be you need to be not overcomplicated. You don't need to be not overpolished. So, the brands that are winning today are those that feel human, simple, authentic, and they are recognizable instantly. So, I will use example of a visual brand called Elements. There are these visual brand elements. Now that you have been able to understand what a visual brand is and what has really changed in 2025 from the older perspective of 2015 to 2024 later, from 2024 late, and what has started from early 2025, we may let's break down the building blocks that has made a strong visual brand again. And these are the ingredients you may need to know of your brand system. So if you need this to get right. Your brand become recognizable fast. Then what can you make your brand to be so recognizable fast? The first one is the logo system. The logo system. Most designers think that, or most beginners, they should think that a brand logo need one logo, and that is totally wrong. In 2025, brand use a logo system. A logo that is so flexible. The logo should have a flexible set of versions and not just one static symbol. I will use example in each so as you may grasp a concept as we continue in our design, in our process. Okay, so I'll use the primary logo. Primary logo is a type of logo which looks to be the main, and it has the full version. It has the icon, it has the name, everything. Mostly you will find it is used in official items, mostly website headers, packaging, company profiles, almost everything. That's what I've called it the primary logo. Example, Safaricom. It has a full mark, it has a full word mark, Safaricom, with a swoosh or a tick. I'll use another example of a Java house. If you've ever been to see Java house, it has full badge of patterns. Another company are not leaving behind, Apple. It is simple. It is just a symbol Apple, but it's usually shorter. This type of logo, the secondary logo, is short, it is rearranged, or it has a simplified version of it. At times it is used when the space is limited. It is not the main logo. So I'm sure you get a concept. I'll use example of Coke, Coca-Cola or Coke. This Coca-Cola, it has a simple type of logo or a secondary logo, Coke. The other one is stacked version. It's version of what, or say it is a stacked version. Maybe I can say it is a one type of a logo, if I'm not wrong. Yes, Coca-Cola or Coke. So that is the stacked version of it. So then we have the Naivas. The Naivas, this is the other one. Don't know if this type of supermarket really exists, but it may exist. So Naivas, if you have ever seen the secondary type of logo, it is horizontal and it has some stacked variation or a wordmark variation. So that's what I'm referring when I'm saying Coca. That's what I'm referring when I say secondary type of logo. The other type of logo I'm referring to, the third one is, which you must be able to understand, icon. Icon. This is the smallest identity one. Or a favicon. It's not the favicon, it is the icon logo or the mark logo. This is the smallest identity, simple. It has Nike, which, like Nike, just a simple one and a swoosh or a tick. That one. Then we have the Spotify, which is using music, the music consumers. They know this type of logo. Spotify. It has sound wave, which it really communicates something. It communicates that music, that sound waves. Then the other one we have Facebook, a well-known one, for letter F. It has a letter F. Icons are powerful. Remember that these icons are powerful and they help brand to live on social media with no avoidance of doubt. I will call the another one, which is the favicon logo, which you need to know. Favicon logo, this is the tiny version. It is the smallest one. It is the tiny version of which is usually found in browsers, website, and mostly in apps. Example, Gmail. A Gmail logo is a favicon type of logo. What about TikTok? You may tell me your thought in your comment section. What TikTok? Which type of logo does TikTok use? Does TikTok use main logo, secondary logo, micro logo, or favicon logo? You may tell me in your comment section. So do you have the Safaricom? Safaricom, it has green and a curved stroke. So that is Safaricom. Safaricom, they have that green version and a curved stroke. That's why the pixel by 16 pixel. If I'm not wrong, but yeah, it's 16 by 16 pixel. The type of logo, favicon logo. Okay, so as I conclude on those type of logo, I want you to think of something. Think of logo system like a wardrobe. Something that you don't like, it is something that you don't wear the same outfit think of a logo system. Like the logo system I've given you, it has 5 elements, 5 types of logo. That's the logo system. Everything. Main logo, secondary logo. Number 2. Number 3, the micro logo or the favicon logo. Then number 4, we have the icon type of logo, which I've used example of YouTube. So you might think of your logo system like a wardrobe. You can't be wearing the same outfit that you can't be wearing the same outfit to a wedding. You can't be using your wedding for outfit to go for gym. Use that as an analogy. You can't be using your gym outfit to go for a job interview, can you? You can't. So that's where the difference come. You can't be using a wedding, like you can't be using a gym outfit to go for a family gathering. Unless there are some issues, but I really don't know about that. Maybe you tell me. Okay, so let's continue. Remember that your logo needs different outfits. Your logo needs different outfits. You must have a logo for social media. You must have a logo for our website. You must have a logo for small spaces, which secondary type of logo could make it more placed and make it more vulnerable. Then we have the big banners. You must look for a logo that could fit those big banners. Then tiny icons, dark mode, light mode. Think about that. So if a logo has one version, your brand feels stiff and outdated. You must keep that in mind. So color is remember that color is one of the fastest ways human recognize brand. People identify color before when they read. People identify color before even they think. So I will explain this structure of the main color. A dominant color will represent your brand. Example, we have the red one. The red represents Coca-Cola. Green represents Safaricom. Yellow represents Naivas. And blue, Naivas. So your main color is your brand face. Something you must be able to know. So when it comes to supporting these colors can protect your brand from looking repetitive, because you cannot tell me if Safaricom could have a blue logo. Definitely it could be sharing with